data company this week valued Estevao at over 100 million already. Did you see that, and what do you make of it?
Yeah, you can see that, absolutely. He's top, his talent.
Estevão gets the shot off and he sneaks it into the near post. Chelsea's newest Brazilian magic man is at it again. How good can this boy be?
Maresca was right. Estevao is a top talent who is worth well above £100 million.
How exciting a talent is he? How good can you see him being?
He's top.
Here's Cucurella, right across for Estevão! What a moment for the 18-year-old!
He's a generational talent, a player who Brazilians had been raving about for years.
I've watched clips of him when he was in Brazil and was really impressed. He's got a huge reputation over there. He's the next one in line to light up the stage, you know, the world stage.
Você lida com protagonismo há muito tempo, literalmente desde criança, né? Seu primeiro contrato de patrocínio de chuteiras você assinou, você tinha 10 anos, né?
Quick, creative, and fearless in big moments, he is the type of player that gets people out of their seats.
The reason why fans pay tickets is because they want to see players like Estevao, like Cole, because people, they are happy when they are inside the pitch.
I'm talking about personality in key moments of games in which he gets the ball, he's facing up defenders, and he's not afraid of the moment. That's personality.
There's a reason that Chelsea fans were so excited when he signed.
A player that Chelsea fans are very excited about is Estevao.
Imagine going from a guy who was only known for smashing Ruby Rose to this entertainer. Now, Chelsea have had entertainers before. Zola, Robin, Joe Cole, Eden Hazard. It's obviously too early to put Estevao in that category, but at this rate, it might not take that long. For the past 2 seasons, Chelsea supporters worried about where their creative spark would come from if Palmer wasn't on the pitch. Estevao has silenced those doubts. He is Chelsea's newest samba star, and this is his story. At just 10 years old, his talent was obvious when he joined the Cruzeiro Youth Academy. Right away, his teammates and coaches were blown away by his skills. He dribbled past people with ease, had great balance, and could score goals like it was nothing. This is when the Messinho nickname started. By the time he was 14, he was already too good for Cruzeiro's youth teams. So in May of 2021, he made a big move to Palmeiras, one of Brazil's biggest clubs. They were already developing another young star, Endrick, but they knew they had to snap up Estevao too. It turned out to be the right call. He kept shining in the youth squads and quickly got the attention of Europe's biggest team. By late 2022, when he was only 15, PSG were reportedly ready to pay over 70 million euros for him and Endrick. Palmeiras said no, but the message was very clear. Estevao was the real deal. In October of 2023, he proved it again by scoring a hat-trick in a youth final against Sao Paulo, helping Palmeiras win their second consecutive title in the Under-17 Campeonato Brasileiro. By 16, he had completely outgrown youth football, and Palmeiras were ready to throw him into the first team. He wasn't just about flashy skills. He was mature, he made smart decisions, and he had a calmness that was very rare for someone his age. Everything was set for the next big step, going from a talented kid to playing against grown professionals. Estevao's jump from youth football to the senior stage was incredibly quick. Palmeiras' manager, Abel Ferreira, a coach who usually takes his time with young players, couldn't hide how impressed he was with the 16-year-old. In 2023, Estevao started training with the first team, and on December 7th that year, he made his professional debut in a perfect fashion against his old club, Cruzeiro. Coming on in the 78th minute of a 1-1 draw, the 16-year-old helped Palmeiras secure the Brazilian League title that night. It was one of those full circle moments you see in a Netflix show. The kid who left Cruzeiro at 14 returned as a Palmeiras player to win the biggest prize in Brazil. Fans knew right away this was the start of something special. After lifting the trophy, Estevao's role exploded in 2024. Early in the year, he split his time between the youth team and the seniors, even starring in the Copinha, which is the Sao Paulo Youth Cup in January. But by spring, he was fully locked into the first team. On April 24th, his 17th birthday, he scored his first senior goal in style. A goal in a Copa Libertadores win over Liverpool. No, not the one from Anfield from Uruguay. Scoring in South America's biggest club competition. From then on, Estevao was a regular starter, whether he was on the right cutting it onto his left or playing through the middle. By the end of 2024, his numbers were insane for a teenager. 13 league goals, plenty of assists, and 15 goals in all competitions. He helped Palmeiras win the Campeonato Paulista and go far in some continental tournaments. One of his best moments came in the Brazilian Cup, when he came off the bench to score a late winner in a 2-1 win over Botafogo. Even Abel Ferreira, who's normally very calm and measured, was stunned, saying Estevao is different from anything he'd ever seen. So it came as no surprise that the awards began rolling in. By the end of the year, Estevao had Best Newcomer in the Brazilian League, a spot in the Team of the Year, Bola de Ouro 2024, which is given to the best player in the league, and the Trofeo Mesa Redonda Player of the Year. That's right, at just 17 years old, he was already the best player in Brazil. Across all his time at Palmeiras, he racked up 27 goals and 15 assists in 83 games, a level of output that had every big club in Europe watching closely. He even broke into the Brazil national team in September of 2024, playing in World Cup qualifiers before even turning 18. By now, he wasn't just a promising kid. He was proving himself against seasoned pros and winning. Palmeiras fans started calling him O Príncipe, which means the prince, the next in their line of club icons. But they also knew that it wouldn't be long before Europe came calling, and that's exactly what happened next. By the middle of 2024, Estevao was on the radar of every big club. Everyone wanted him. He had always been a huge Lionel Messi fan, and once even joked that playing for Barcelona was his dream. But Chelsea weren't messing around. They moved fast to make sure that he'd be wearing blue. In June of 2024, they agreed a deal with Palmeiras worth about 34 million euros up front, with add-ons that could push it to 60 to 65 million euros. It was a record fee for a 17-year-old from South America at the time, showing just how much they believed in him. Because the FIFA rules state that a player cannot move abroad until he's 18 years old, the deal came with a twist. He would stay at Palmeiras until April of 2025. That actually turned into the perfect setup for both sides. Palmeiras got to keep their star a bit longer, and Estevao kept playing regular first-team football in a place that he knew well. Meanwhile, Chelsea fans were glued to every move, sharing clips of his goals and man-of-the-match performances on social media, counting down the days until he arrived. It's like me ordering my Chelsea jersey from buygamejerseys.com, then waiting at my door patiently to get it. Make sure to use code PETTALKS at checkout. Then came a surprise twist. Just weeks before he was able to finally move to London, Palmeiras and Chelsea both qualified for the expanded FIFA Club World Cup in the US. Football might be scripted because of course these two end up playing each other in the quarterfinals. Estevao was now playing against his future club, and he stole the show. Early in the second half, he slipped in behind Chelsea's defense, received the pass, and from an almost impossible tight angle on his right foot, he smashed it in. The ball flew past Robert Sanchez, hit the crossbar, and went in. It was a brilliant finish. The type that just makes your balls tingle. Maybe I should get that checked out. For a while, it looked like Estevao might knock Chelsea out single-handedly. He was full of confidence, running at the defenders. Every time he touched the ball, you felt like something big was gonna happen. Chelsea responded by crowding him out and even fouling him. Cucurella gave him a few welcome to the team type challenges, but Estevao didn't back down. He kept asking for the ball and trying to make things happen. Chelsea ended up winning 2-1 thanks to a late lucky own goal, but the headlines were all about Estevao. He was named man of the match, which is not common for someone who's on the losing side. Even Maresca praised him afterwards.
The 18-year-old who's been hailed as the single greatest talent to emerge from Brazil since Vinicius Jr. What role should we expect from him this season?
Roger, we punish him when he arrives because he scored against us.
That night told Chelsea supporters a lot about Estevao. He can handle pressure, he's not afraid of the big stage, and he has the skills and confidence to change a game on his own. More importantly, he wasn't rage baited by Cucurella, so that's a good sign too. It also confirmed something that the club had hoped for. They weren't just signing a promising young talent. They were signing someone who was already ready to destroy top oppositions. When the final whistle blew, Cole Palmer swapped shirts with him, almost like a passing of the torch. For Chelsea fans, it was the perfect preview. Their new prince had just shown, against them, exactly why he's worth the hype.
I just said we look forward to seeing you, but you didn't understand a word I said, so it doesn't matter.
He was wearing Palmeiras green, but he was already gaining fans in London. Before the Chelsea game, and Palmeiras' goalless draw with Porto earlier in the tournament, Estevao had already shown flashes of why he's considered Brazil's biggest talent since Neymar. He was named FIFA Superior Player of the Match that day, thanks to his silky dribbling, sharp passing, and very clever movement. He also has this knack for being able to find dangerous spaces. But it was that knockout game against Chelsea that really gave him some much needed PR. For Chelsea players and staff, it was both exciting and worrying. Here was this kid that they had just spent big money on, actively threatening to send them home. For the fans, it was like watching the trailer to a movie that you can't wait to see yet. What's great is that he didn't disappear after the goal either. He kept asking for the ball, kept trying to make things happen. Later that month, Estevão finally became a Chelsea player. He said an emotional goodbye to Palmeiras, thanking them for everything, and promising to always be a fan. When he landed at Chelsea's training ground, the welcome was huge. In his first interviews, he called it rewarding to join one of the biggest clubs in the world, and promised to help the team however he could. Reece James even joked that Estevão had already scored the hardest goal, the one against Chelsea, and now it was time to start scoring for the Blues. The wait was over, and his debut in England was just around the corner. It didn't take long for Estevão to show Chelsea fans what all the hype was about. In the first preseason friendly of the 2025-2026 season, Maresca put him straight into the starting lineup against Bayer Leverkusen. The atmosphere at Stamford Bridge was actually buzzing, a pretty huge crowd for a preseason game, and I feel like most of them were there to see Messinho in action. And 18 minutes in, he delivered. Cole Palmer smashed a shot off the crossbar, and Estevão showed a striker's instinct, having already made a run into the box. He was the first to the rebound, took a touch, and coolly slotted it home with his left foot before any of the defenders could react. Classic defending from a Ten Hag squad. The celebration said it all. He sprinted to the corner flag, kissing the Chelsea badge, and pumping his fist as the crowd cheered. From the get-go, there was a natural chemistry between him and Cole Palmer, one that was obvious to see from kickoff. It made it look like Estevão had been in the team for months, because he was linking up so well with all of his new teammates, not just Palmer, and showing flashes of skill that really got people out of their seats.
It was really interesting to see the role of Estevao and how it changed from the first to the second half. In the first half, dynamic down that right-hand side, and every time that he was going after the defenders, whenever he was going outside or inside, you felt like something was about to happen. And
Maresca was happy too, but the Italian Lex Luthor kept things grounded. The fact that Maresca started him after barely a week of training showed just how much faith he already had in the teenager. Even his teammates were impressed. Jamie Gins revealed that Estevão had been lighting up training from day one. It was the perfect start. A goal on his unofficial debut and an instant connection with the squad. He followed it up with another great preseason performance, and while he didn't score, he showed glimpses of what he could do. In only a few weeks, he had gone from a prospect playing in Brazil to a key member of Chelsea's attack. Through it all, he stayed very relaxed and happy. Maresca called him a happy boy, always laughing, typical of a Brazilian guy, and stressed the importance of keeping him that way. The club knows not to pile on too much pressure on him too soon. He still needs time to adapt, but there's already a quiet confidence around Stamford Bridge that they might have found a generational talent. Bringing an 18-year-old from South America straight into the first team of a Premier League giant is risky, but Estevão has the skill and mindset to make it work. Chelsea are rebuilding with a young, hungry core of players, and the Brazilian can be the jewel of their whole project. He is listed as a winger, but he can play pretty much anywhere in the attack. This means he can start on either wing, play as a number 10, or even as a second striker. On the right, he can cut onto his left foot like he did at Palmeiras. If Chelsea need a link player in the middle or another creator, he can do that too. He's very smart with his movement, always able to find pockets of space, and he makes himself available between the lines. This flexibility gives Maresca options, making Chelsea harder to predict, and now they have even more depth and quality. Chelsea have lacked a player who can take on defenders and create magic out of nothing, aside from Palmer. Madueke tried, but that brother was allergic to passing and scoring. Meanwhile, Sancho wasn't enough of an explosive winger to be able to consistently perform at the top level. Estevão can be that guy. He's a joga bonito baller. Quick feet, feints, changes of direction, and ball control that is tighter than your bumhole when Drogba took his pen in the Champions League final in 2012. And again, Estevão is Brazilian. He has a reputation to maintain. By 18, he had already collected 15 assists for Palmeiras, proving he's as much a creator as he is a scorer. Against teams that sit deep, his dribbling and quick passes can break them open. Exactly what Chelsea have been missing. Keep in mind, he's not some sort of aesthetic merchant who only looks good in highlights. At Palmeiras, he scored 27 goals in 83 games by the age of 18, which is outstanding for a winger. He's naturally left-footed, but he can score with his right too, as he showed at the Club World Cup. That makes him very unpredictable. He's also calm in the box, and has this knack for being in the right place at the right time. He can also score from distance. Chelsea haven't had a consistent goal-scoring winger since Eden Hazard, and Estevão has the potential to be that player. Even though he's young, he has shown that he isn't afraid of the bright lights. Some young players take time to handle big moments, but Estevão thrives in them. We've already seen it, scoring against Chelsea in the Club Club World Cup knockouts, starring in finals and title deciders, playing in World Cup qualifiers before he's turned 18. This guy also doesn't shy away from the physical side either. He might not be the tallest at 5'9" and a bit scrawny, but he's quick and doesn't get pushed around that easily. Yes, he will need to put on some muscle, but he isn't soft. In Brazil, he learned to handle tough marking, and he rarely missed games through injury. He also worked hard off the ball too, pressing from the front and tracking back when needed, something that Maresca values a lot. People always clown any league that isn't the Premier League, but the Brazilian league has shown that it is very physical, and we saw that at the Club World Cup. So the fact that Estevao was able to consistently perform and put up good numbers in a physical league like that means he should be able to adapt just fine to the Premier League. His fearlessness is also exactly what Chelsea need for big games. Estevao forces teams to adjust to him, and when that happens, it creates space and chances for others. He's got the skills to produce something special when Chelsea needed the most. And if he develops the way everyone expects, he could become the talisman the club has been missing since Hazard left. The Brazilian is very much a symbol of the aggressive, youth-focused recruitment that we are seeing under Clear Lake Capital and Todd Boehly. The deal, worth an initial £28.7 million and potentially rising to nearly £50 million, is not only one of the largest ever for a South American teenager, but also pushes Chelsea's investments in teenage signings under their new ownership past £150 million. Estevao, though, is different. He's seen as a rare elite level prospect. I mean, I can tell you already right now he's better than Endrick, a player who only makes headlines when there's some sort of news article about him and his wife. I've literally never seen this guy be on the headlines of a mainstream article about his footballing skills. Chelsea's move for Estevao shows that they're going all in on a new plan. Instead of chasing big name stars at their peak, they're focusing on signing the best young talents before their value skyrockets. It's a strategy that clubs like Real Madrid and Benfica have used for years, but Chelsea are taking it to another level. They've made South America a priority, snapping up players like Andre Santos, David Washington, and Kendry Pais. They've even brought in top scouts, like the former Corinthians chief scout, Alison Marins, to build strong connections with local clubs and agents. The owners, Clear Lake and Boehly, state that they're not stockpiling, but rather building for the future. The idea is to have multiple young options for every position, so they're never short of talent. As a result, Estevao is joining a squad already full of left-footed right-wing options like Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto, and Pais, so getting game time won't be easy. Chelsea fans have seen this before. Back in the Abramovich era, the club signed several young Brazilians, Lucas Piazon, Wallace, Nathan, Kennedy, but most never broke through. Many spent years out on loan before leaving. Other clubs have had similar issues. For example, Luis Guilherme at West Ham struggled after moving too early and ended up on the bench instead of playing regularly. Chelsea, though, feel that Estevao is a completely different guy. They see him as a talent on the same level as Vini or Rodrigo, someone who can quickly adapt to Europe. Still though, with so much competition for attacking spots, fitting him in will be a challenge. The club knows that they have to do a better job of helping these young signings grow. They want to mix them with academy players from Cobham, creating an environment where everyone pushes each other to improve. Loan moves, often to a sister club like Strasbourg, will be used to give players regular minutes. With Chelsea potentially playing up to 80 matches in the next season, they believe there will be chances for everyone, though there's still a risk of some players getting stuck on the sideline. Right now, Estevao is the face of a bold new project, a Brazilian wonderkid brought in to give Chelsea an edge in the future. Calling him the new Prince of Chelsea might sound like too much hype, but it really sums up how the fans feel. Estevao represents a fresh, hopeful era at Stamford Bridge. This is a kid who grew up dreaming about the greats, and now he's in a position to become one himself. From Brazil to London, his story already has chapters that most players could only dream of. Dominating youth football, breaking records at Palmeiras, and having already gone head-to-head with Chelsea at the Club World Cup. Then on top of that, he got a hero's welcome when he finally joined the club. Every step has hinted that this is a kid destined for the very top. If he delivers even a fraction of what people expect, he could be the one to really help Chelsea get back to glory and cement himself as a club legend. Because Chelsea truly believe they've got a future world-class star in him, like what Barca have in Lamine Yamal, a player who is already good enough to make an impact but has the potential to get even better. And they feel he's in a place to reach his full potential. Now, as he starts his journey in English football, the spotlight is really on. Everybody knows his name now, but he looks ready to take on the challenge. The future at Stamford Bridge looks brighter than it has in years. To see just how good this Chelsea team around Estevao is, you gotta watch this video right here.